Hi, my name is Avery, and in today's video I will be going over how to budget in Excel for beginners. If you're going to be budgeting for the first time using a spreadsheet, I highly recommend getting someone's template to use instead of just diving in and creating your own spreadsheet from scratch. And in this video, I will be using one of my own templates that will be available in my shop on November 2nd. By the time this video comes out, it will be available. You can get one for only $5 on either Etsy or my website, averysimone.com. And if you're here because you purchased the template and you want to know how to use it, thank you so much for your purchase and for your support. In this video, I will be specifically using the template called Latte, but in my shop, I have 3 templates available. The first one is called Espresso, and it is a budget by paycheck dashboard. The second one is called Macchiato, and that is a monthly budget dashboard. And then the third one's called Latte, and it actually has both of the paycheck and the monthly budget templates combined. And all of the templates come with a transaction log. So in this video, you'll see me going over the Latte template so you can see all of the templates that are going to be available. Also, if you're going to be budgeting on Google Sheets instead of Microsoft Excel, I do have a video that goes into detail on how to budget in Google Sheets for beginners. And then I also designed different versions of each template that is better fit for each software. All the templates can be used on either Google Sheets or Excel, but there is a little bit of a difference between them, so that's why I designed different versions of the templates. I'm only going to go over the basics on how to use an actual template, but if you're interested in more advanced either video or course on how to build your own spreadsheet from scratch and all of the little things, let me know down below, comment down below, and I will definitely consider making that in the future. Alright, so let's jump onto the spreadsheet and I will show you how to budget for beginners. When you first open your spreadsheet, the spreadsheet as a whole is called a workbook, but then as you'll see at the bottom, there are individual sheets in your workbook. So each one of these pages is called a sheet. If you want to add a new sheet, you'll just press the plus button and it'll open a new sheet for you. If you want to delete a sheet, just right click it and press delete. So in this spreadsheet, you'll see that I have 2 different templates. One is the paycheck template, one is the monthly template. I also have a transaction log and then an instructions sheet. So I will go over each template, then the transaction log, and then lastly I'll briefly touch on the instructions. The very first thing you'll want to do before you start budgeting anything is to duplicate your template so that you can continue to reuse the template month after month. You want to always have a blank template available so you don't have to either delete all of your previous month's budget out of the spreadsheet or copy that and then delete it. It's just easier if you always have a blank template. So in order to duplicate or copy and make a new spreadsheet, you'll just right click, press move or copy. And this is where it gets a little tricky. Sometimes it's just easier to do in Google Sheets, but it's not that hard. You'll just press move to end and create a copy. And then you press OK, and there is your new blank sheet. Another little technical term for a spreadsheet is a cell. So each sheet is made up of all of these different boxes. We've got A1, A2, A3, A4, and there's so many different boxes, and each one of those boxes is actually called a cell. So you might hear me use that word in this video as well. Let's say that you want to move one of your templates to a new workbook so that you have all of your paycheck templates, all of your paycheck budgets on one spreadsheet and all of your monthly budgets on another spreadsheet. Or maybe you want all of your 2021 budgets on one spreadsheet and all of your 2022 budgets on another spreadsheet. If you want to move one of these templates to a new spreadsheet, all you have to do is right click, press move or copy, to book, click new book, create a copy. Okay. Alright, so there you go. You have a new book that opens up with a blank template. And you can start using the template in this book if you want to, but obviously it looks like the colors are totally messed up, and sometimes this happens depending on the device that you're using. It can be a little bit of an inconvenience, but I'll show you how to fix it. So an easy way to do this is to actually go back to the original spreadsheet, press page layout, press themes, and press save current theme. Then you'll want to name the theme, and I would leave it where it says it's supposed to go and save it. I named mine Brood Budget because that's what my shop is called. Then when you go back to the new spreadsheet, all you have to do is go to page layout, press themes, and then in custom you'll see one of your saved themes, and bam, there you go. You have the same theme that I set up in the original spreadsheet. Now, of course, if you don't like the colors that I chose and you want to customize it, you can always go through and change all the colors. Just go to home and press the fill color. You'll see all the theme colors up here. You can change them to whatever you want. You could save the theme so you can always use it for other spreadsheets. You can change the font size. In the home is where you'll see most of the options to change different simple things like that. Alright, so we'll go to that paycheck template that we duplicated, and we're going to start filling in the template. I'm going to fill it out with just like random information just as an example. So since we're about to start the month of November, I'm going to rename the template. You can rename the template by either right clicking it and pressing rename, or you can just double click, and I'll put November paycheck. Then I will also go up here where it says enter month here, and I will put in November. So let's briefly look over the spreadsheet. We have a place to put the income and the expenses of 5 different paychecks. So here's the first paycheck, second paycheck, third, fourth, and fifth. If you only have 2 paychecks that you want to budget each month, you can minimize these extra ones. If you have 3, you could leave the third one open. But to make things look a little bit neater, you could just minimize them so you don't have to worry about it. In the middle, we have a monthly summary for both the budgeted section and the actual section, and then we have a little bar graph that will compare income versus expenses for both the budgeted and the actual columns. So let's start off with the income. Under category, I'm going to put down categories of income. For example, I'm going to put Eric's paycheck because that's my husband's name. Budgeting is very important to us as a family on a single income. I think it really helps contribute to a lot of peace that we have, just knowing that we're living within our means and we're still able to reach financial goals. That's why it was important to me to create simple, easy spreadsheets that are easy to understand, easy to read and fill out, and doesn't take that much time. I think that budgeting is sort of a form of self-care because not knowing where your money is going and if you're overspending or not can be a very stressful thing for a lot of people. It can be very stressful for couples. I really hope that these spreadsheets help you have that financial peace and reach your financial goals. So since we're doing the paycheck template, you might wonder why we have multiple categories or multiple rows under first paycheck income. The reason why I have that is because if you have a double income family and you and your spouse have the same pay periods, maybe you want to budget it all together. You could budget them individually if you don't have the same pay periods, or if you earn side hustle income outside of your normal paycheck, you might want to list that as well. Okay, so I'm just going to enter random information just as an example. I'm going to say that he's budgeting that he's going to earn $2,000. And right away you'll see this column over/under turn this orangish color. In the over/under column, I have a rule set up where if it's under 0, it'll turn orange to alert us that we didn't earn as much or we spent too much in this section. Since we didn't actually earn it yet, it's saying, hey, you did not earn as much as you budgeted. Don't worry though, when we fill in the actual column, it will go away, it'll fix itself. At the beginning of the month, you'll fill in the budgeted column before the month begins, and then either during or after the month or after the pay period, you will go through and fill in the actual section. And as you fill in the spreadsheet, you'll also notice the monthly summaries filling in as well, updating itself. So anywhere where you see a blank cell, it's usually good for you. It's usually okay for you to enter information in, but anywhere where you see the zeros, it's usually a cell that you do not want to delete or enter information in. Any cell that has a formula in it, you do not want to delete. You want to pay close attention to, because I put formulas in certain cells so that it will automatically calculate different totals for you. So all of these cells that have the zeros in it have a formula in it. And to double check if a cell has a formula in it or not, you can click on the cell and look in the formula bar. So as you can see, there is a formula up here. But if I click in this blank cell, there is no formula. If I click in this cell, you'll see what is in this cell. It says actual. All right, so looking at the expenses, I'm just gonna enter some random expenses. Okay, so the last category that I have is debt. Usually for my personal budget, I have savings and debt as like the last two things. This spreadsheet is actually a zero-based budget. So that means that you want all of your income to equal all of your expenses, or all of your income minus your expenses to equal 0. Because you want all of your income to be accounted for, you want to assign every single dollar that you earn a job, so you know exactly where all of your money is going. So that's kind of what this section in the middle helps you with. We have $2,000 that we budgeted, and our expenses only add up to $1,650, so we have $350 left, and that means I'm going to put $350 in this last category to bring our budget into balance. This is another section that has formulas in the cells. You don't want to enter information here. It will enter it in for you. Okay, so you can also see in this chart that all of our income equals all of our expenses, and that's when you have your budget finished and complete. All right, so then we'll go through, and my husband got paid, let's say, and so he earned $2,000, $800 for rent, $100 for electricity, $250. Let's say he only spent $175 for gas, then $300. So now we see we have $375 left. So that means we can put an extra $25 towards debt because we didn't spend as much on gas. So here it's saying that we overspent by $25 because we budgeted $350 and we actually put $375 towards it. But this brings our budget into balance, if you see here in the actual monthly summary. And so everything's all good. We have everything counted for. The chart looks good. The budget is in balance and finished for the pay period. So if you go into the second paycheck and put Eric's paycheck again, and let's say he's gonna earn $1,000. Once you start filling in the second paycheck and the third paycheck and the fourth paycheck, the stuff in the middle, the summaries and the chart, are also going to summarize all of the information from all of the paychecks that you fill in. So there isn't an individual summary for each individual paycheck. It just summarizes all of the paychecks combined for the month in this section. And the last thing that I will show you before I move on to the next template is how to edit the rules in case you don't like it. If the cell decides to pop up orange, maybe you don't like the color, or maybe you just don't like it. So to edit it, just go to any cell that has a rule, which for the spreadsheet is any cell with the 0 in it. Click conditional formatting and then go down to manage rules. In here you'll see that I have a rule that if the cell is under 0, it's going to turn this color. All of the cells that it applies to will highlight itself. So you can either delete the rule by pressing this minus sign, you could duplicate the rule, you could edit the rule, you could add a rule, you could edit it and change the color if you want to. That's just where you could mess around and try and figure out how to personalize it for your own budget. All right, so I think that's everything for that template. So we'll go on to the monthly template, and now I will duplicate this one, press move or copy, move to end, create a copy. Okay. Then we'll rename it to November monthly. Rename the month November. And now we're looking at this template. So this template is super similar, but we only have one section for income for the entire month. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different categories that you will use to organize your expenses. And also the chart in the middle is a little bit different. You'll see as we start filling this out. So for income, I'll put Eric's paycheck, 2,000. I'll also put Avery's income, 200. Essentials, for me, this is stuff like rent or mortgage, electricity, groceries, those bills and different expenses that are like necessary to live. These are the essentials. All of these categories are customizable. You can change the names to whatever you want. If you want to change it, that's up to you. So fun, that is like restaurants and personal spending. Sinking funds, this is a very important part of my personal budget, my family's budget. We love to use sinking funds. We use like a medical, we use vacation, car, maintenance. Those are a couple we use. Savings, emergency fund, and debt, we'll put car loan and credit card. So I'll go through. So as you see, as I'm filling this out, this number is going down. We have $200 left for the last category. So basically you want to fill in the most important things first, like you have to pay your rent or you have to buy groceries, but you don't really have to spend anything. You don't really have to go out to eat. So those things you might want to wait till the very end of the budget and see what you have left over. So again, if you don't use sinking funds, if you don't have debt, you can change these categories to whatever you want. All you have to do is click it, type in what you want. I'm just gonna leave it as that. But the other thing you'll want to do is click on the chart, press chart design, select data. Where it says horizontal category access labels, you'll want to click that, and then you might have to also change the name for the category here as well. So when you start to fill in the actual column, you'll start to see the chart fill itself out. And for this spreadsheet, I thought it'd be more helpful to see a breakdown of the different categories in a pie chart instead of a bar chart. I'll just put in exactly what I budgeted for. We'll say that this budget was perfect, when in real life it never is, but we'll just pretend like this one is. Okay, so at the end of the month, this is what you will be looking at. You'll see the chart fill itself in. This chart actually has a key, so you can see what each category is. The essentials, we spent 45%, 7% on fun, 7% on sinking funds, 23% on savings, and 18% on debt. So that might be helpful because if you have a financial goal like saving or paying off debt, you might want to see how much of your income each month are you putting towards debt, because that's a helpful thing to look at sometimes. All right, so now that I've gone over both of the templates, I'm going to go to the transaction log and start showing you how to use this. This is a part of budgeting that might seem very tedious and hard, but it is essential to having a successful budget. So I'm going to show you how to use it. It's not as hard as you think. You might also see this be called an expense tracker on some other people's budgets, but I call it a transaction log because I also log income as well as expenses. Also, when you're first starting to budget, I recommend keeping all of your receipts from all of your transactions for maybe a couple of months. Some people like to do this all the time. Some people hate to do this. I did this for a little bit. I don't do it anymore as much, at least. You could also just pull up your bank statements or look on your online bank and look at all of your transactions that way. That's just a little bit trickier because not all of your transactions come out of the bank on the same day. You might go to McDonald's on a Thursday, but the money won't come out till the next day or something like that. And sometimes you will see a transaction and it won't really say where it was at, and you won't be able to tell where it came from. So that's why it can be a little bit hard, and why I think keeping receipts for a little bit till you get used to it is a good idea. So what you'll do is basically go through the month, go through the pay period, and start filling in this transaction log. There's a date, category, description, and amount. Since we're doing November, I'll just put that in. The category, you'll want it to kind of match the category that you use in your budget. So let's say I got groceries, and then for description, I usually put like the store or something that will help me understand what it was. Maybe I went to get stamps at the post office, so I might put that in the description. It's not that important to fill out. You definitely want to make sure you fill out the date, category, and amount. The description's more of something that is helpful for you. I'll put $95 for the amount. So this is information that you can get off your bank statement, your bank transaction log, your receipts. But yeah, you'll want to do this for every single transaction. So another thing that happened is, like, my husband got paid. So I'll put category, income, description, Eric's paycheck, and then $2,000. I'm going to go through, put in a few transactions just as an example, and I'll show you how to use this. So now that I put in a few random transactions, I'm going to show you how to use it. Normally in a month, you might fill out this entire log. I have around 100 slots. And so it's up to you if you want to duplicate the transaction log so you have a separate one for each month. Or if you want to maybe just keep the same transaction log for the whole year. To add slots, all you have to do is click one of these numbers in the middle, one of these blank rows, right click and press insert, and bam, a new row appeared. I can show you down here as well. Right click one of these numbers, right click, insert. So there we go. It's not as important to keep your transaction log month after month as it is to keep your budget, so you can go back and look over each month, see how you did, and how you can improve. The transaction log is like only helpful to fill out your budget, really. So if you want to delete it at the end of the month, I don't think that's a problem. It's up to you, really. All you have to do is click all the cells with information and press delete. But I'm going to show you how to use it now. So each of these columns, date, category, description, amount, have a filter, and you can see that with this arrow. The most helpful filters are date and category. You probably won't use the description or the amount filter, but basically, let's say you filled out this transaction log for the whole month of November, but you just want to see the first paycheck. So you can press date. You can unselect all and then select whatever dates so that you can fill in your transaction log for the specific time period that you want. And then the other thing that's helpful is the category filter. So let's say you have a ton of different groceries or gas transactions and you just want to add them all up easily. You could deselect all and then select whatever category you want. I selected groceries, and bam, it adds it all up for me, so then I can see easily that I spent $213 on groceries, and then I can go to my budget and enter that in. Don't have to go through and manually calculate the totals for myself. You could do a category filter and a date filter at the same time to basically make it easy for you to fill in your budget spreadsheet. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope it was easy to understand how to use it. It takes practice, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. So the last sheet that I'll go over is the instructions. This is a sheet that you can delete if you don't need it. It just has a few simple instructions on how to basically use the spreadsheet successfully during the month, but I went over way more details in this video. I'll also have a link to this video once I'm done with it in this sheet, so you can always have access to it. And then if you have any problems or questions, you could also just email me. Again, I just wanted to go over a simple tutorial on how to use this spreadsheet successfully. It takes practice. I would say give it at least 2 to 3 months to get the ball rolling. And even now that I've been budgeting for a couple of years, I still don't get it perfect every single month. Actually, every single month I have problems. I don't stay in budget every single month, but just doing it still helps us stay on track a little bit better. It just also makes me feel more at peace knowing, you know, our exact financial situation. Instead of just hiding it and like pretending it's not there, I like to face it head on and to really know what's going on. So thank you for joining me for this video. If you want to see more content from me, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel and you can follow me on Instagram. Thanks again. Bye.